at Georgia Tech. So we've talked about Haynes King quite a lot, but they've got a very good #2 quarterback in Aaron Philo. The 6'2" redshirt freshman from Bogart, Georgia, showed some really good flashes last year, Coach.
Yeah, he's a real pure passer, very accurate with the football, has a lot of confidence, and is going to be a star here.
Out of Prince Avenue Christian School, stands at the 20-yard line. Hands it off to Traylon Maddox, a redshirt freshman who goes right up the middle. Nice pickup on first down, a gain of about 9. Tackled by Tajay Butler, one of the talented linebackers here at Tech.
They're very excited about this linebacker crew, and feel that, you know, when you talk to Blake Gideon, he said they can run, they're physical, they can strike, and he thinks the best is yet to come with them.
Blake Gideon, the first-year defensive coordinator at Tech. Snap is bobbled, and then the whistle comes so that Aaron Philo wearing green. Anybody wearing green today, you can't touch them, the specialists and the quarterbacks. And so on a busted play, they just blow the whistle and make sure nobody hits them.
Yeah, no question. You know, you're in a real game situation. You're jumping right on that ball. But right now in a spring game, you don't want to dive in the back of people's legs. They're going to blow the whistle.
Well, the offensive line, one of the big stories this spring for Georgia Tech, Harrison Moore, projected as the starting center. He is the starting center today with Aaron Philo, who completes his first pass out across the 40-yard line for a 14-yard pickup. Move the chains.
That was a nice confidence-building throw for Haynes. He got his feet set and delivered a good strike there. Very well executed. And as I said, I think early on you want to get him throwing the ball here today and continue to work on the progress he's made, getting his feet set and all of his timing routes.
84 is David Prince, a 6'4" redshirt freshman receiver. And he gets it out to the 44-yard line. Philo hands it off and stood up the defensive front ready for it. Looks like a loss of a half yard for Traylon Maddox.
Handoff number 28, Lane Maddox.
I think what you're going to see here, you know, they're going to try to really throw the ball a little bit more. They start out with a couple of runs, but I think you'll see some short throws here. They're going to try to get Haynes to get them back into a manageable down and distance here. So pick up 5 here maybe. The ability to be an elite player here at Georgia Tech, and you can see his arm. He's got good accuracy.
Fires to the near side into single coverage, and once again it's Gatling, the target, who hauls it in out to the 34-yard line. A 20-yard pickup. Calvin Hill, the sophomore from Carrollton, Georgia, in coverage.
Philo put that right where it needed to be too. Put it right on the outside shoulder, right against the sideline. Really good touch on the ball. Very, very well done.
Traylon Maddox again, the running back, flanking Aaron Philo, number 12. And the football off, bounce it out right side, inside the 30-yard line. That's a 6-yard gain. Well, the redshirt freshman out of Parkview High School had a big first scrimmage a couple of weeks ago. Scored 3 touchdowns and a pair of 50-yard runs. He's been one of the guys, Maddox has, that the coaching staff raved about during spring practice.
Well, you can see Traylon's burst. He hit the hole and bounced it outside and made a nice pickup there. That was a good burst, a good show of speed.
Whistle blows as Philo is bottled up in the backfield. Yeah, Philo better known for his arm, but his feet actually got this Yellow Jackets team a victory last year against North Carolina State.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly an adequate runner. I wouldn't call him an elite runner. He ran a read play, a read counter play there. I'm surprised they put him in that play structure right there and misread it.
Well, Haynes King missed a couple of games last year with injury, and Philo stepped in admirably. He fires far sideline. That's a long pass, a little too tall for the intended receiver.
Yeah, he had a little pressure there, and it caused him to sail the ball. Not a great throw, but credit the defense, and you know, really, right guard got beat there, got around him, and created pressure.
So that brings up 4th down And we will have a field goal attempt by Aiden Burr, redshirt junior from Kennedale, Texas, a 47-yard attempt. He has plenty of leg. Last year in the spring game, he kicked one from 62 yards. We weren't sure that the coaches were going to have field goal kicking, but we've got a good one to get us on the board to begin our ball game. Well, we've seen the backup quarterback, Aaron Philo. We will see the starting quarterback, Haynes King, when we come back to Bobby Dodd.
I request a colon cancer screening kit from Cologuard.com, and if I'm eligible, it gets delivered to my drawbridge. Aces.
Cologuard is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk. False positive and negative results may occur. Request the Cologuard kit online.
Join us in celebrating 70 years in the U.S. and get exclusive offers on select new Volvo models.
This is my Oak Lawn.
Team Wreckham on the board first in this annual spring game here in Atlanta, Georgia. Georgia Tech split in two. And after an impressive start for Aaron Philo, we will see the starting quarterback, Haynes King, come in. Jamal Haynes, the starting running back, who should have a lot more help this year in the backfield so that you mitigate some of the wear and tear through games and practices. He's standing back at the goal line to return this kick. And lets it go over his head. And so now we get our first look at Haynes King. And Coach, if you had him at Boston College when you were there, what would you be looking for out of him in this type of environment today?
I think for Haynes, you know, he wants to come out here. I think they want to throw the ball with him. I think they want to continue to work on the things that he's done all spring with his footwork, getting everything accurate, and just let him get some work in the first half. And that'll probably, we won't see a lot of him, but have early success.
Third-year Yellow Jacket after 3 years at Texas A&M. Completes the pass to Jamal Haynes, who is taken out of bounds. And in talking to Haynes King, his father, earlier this week, his father was his high school coach back in Longview, Texas. He said it was a tough decision to leave A&M, but in that family, you got to finish what you start. And he said the only way you're going to leave A&M and leave College Station is if you do it with your degree. He got his degree after 3 years, and now a fresh start here for him here at Georgia Tech a couple of years ago.
Yeah, no question. He needed that, and he's taken advantage of it and really built his confidence, especially in the throw game. You know, as we said earlier, bringing his completion percentage over 73% and cutting down his interceptions. So, as I said, coming out here, you see they're throwing the ball first 2 snaps with him. They got him in 3rd and short right now, but letting him work on his arm and his timing.
That was timed well, a 6-yard hookup with Bailey Stockton, a 5'11" redshirt sophomore from Bogart, Georgia, who opened eyes a couple of weeks ago with his play in the first intra-squad spring scrimmage. King dumps it off, finds the new tight end, J.T. Byrne. This is his 3rd stop. He's a grad transfer from Cal, where he spent a couple of years, spent his first 2 years at Oregon State, and he's part of a tight end room that's going to try and replace Jackson Hawes, an NFL prospect, great blocking tight end. What do you see out of J.T. Byrne this year?
Well, J.T. Byrne's more of an inline tight end. He's a guy that's got to take up that blocking aspect, but he also has good hands. And you saw on that play right there, they ran what they call a triple option. They read the dive play. It wasn't there. He pulled it, and then he came down the line and threw the ball. And there's 3 phases to that play. Well executed and real good completion by Haynes and by Byrne.
King lets it rip. He's got a man out across midfield. It's again Bailey Stockton. Bailey talks about attacking leverage is the biggest part of being a receiver. What exactly does that mean, Coach?
Well, you want to work on the top end of your routes. You want to attack the leverage, and you want to be able to stick them and then be able to come back and get yourself open. And that was just a little curl route right there that they threw. It was a real good throw and catch and timing route. Again, you're seeing they're letting Haynes right now. Haynes King is throwing the ball right now and really working on that. That's nice to see.
He was working on true freshman defensive back Elgin Sessions, who's had a nice spring. That pass incomplete. Trying to find Chris Elko, another one of the young wide receivers who has opened eyes this spring. He was put on scholarship actually last Friday.
Yeah, he should have come down with that ball. But, you know, what was nice to see on that play was when Haynes came off the naked self fake and he came around, he had two defenders in his face. He stood there and delivered that real catchable pass right there with a lot of heat in his face. I look at that with a quarterback, and that shows you his experience and his confidence.
2nd down and 10 after the incompletion. Jamal Haynes goes in motion. Passing the other way, the screen is caught at midfield by Zion Taylor. Pretty much everything is vanilla in these scrimmages, right, Coach? Offense, defense, nobody's showing too much.
I mean, everybody's got a little different philosophy. I would say they're not going to show much on defense here because that's a little bit of an unknown. Offensively, they'll keep it somewhat generic, but, you know, they're running triple. They're running their little slip screen out there. I mean, so they're running their offense.
Downfield into single coverage, in and out of the hands of Chris Elko. Once again, the mechanical engineering major targeted but unable to haul it in. Daquan White, the terrific transfer from Eastern Michigan University, was with him step for step.
Yeah, it was good coverage, but this is a beautiful throw, guys. I mean, this is really on the outside shoulder, hit him right in the hands. That's a great ball. The coaches will be really excited to see that on the video when they watch it tomorrow. But good coverage. Like to see that ball caught.
So now we get our first look at the new punter here at Georgia Tech, Marshall Nichols, a senior from right here in Atlanta. And he has a huge leg. His coach says he's going to be a game changer this fall.
Yeah, well, when you can tilt the field with a punt, that's really important like that. And
as if they were playing a different team today. King came over, talked to his wide receiver, and said, hey, listen, you be ready to make that play. You will make one today. It's a spring game, but it's still competitive here. That's Brent Key's toughness.
J.P. Powell in the football game at running back. The screen pass complete to Gatling from Aaron Philo back in. He is now 4 of 5 passing for over 40 yards. King, by the way, 5 of 7 passing on that first drive for 31 yards.
Another little slip screen right there. Got the ball in the perimeter. Nice job of blocking for the offensive line, getting out and being lead blockers on that. Well executed. Just kind of making that defense now play the whole width of that field, right? You're going to defend the run, got to defend the screens, got to defend the vertical game.
We got to keep an eye on number 20, J.P. Powell, the running back. He's one of the highly rated recruits that Brent Key and his staff able to bring in. He's a speedster, a 4-star who held offers from Auburn, Florida State, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. They say he can hit the hole and go.
Yeah, he looks like he has really good speed and a lot of good twitch. I'm anxious to watch him myself, and I'm sure he'll break off a couple runs in this scrimmage.
Well, JP says his mom Miranda is his motivation. Countless sacrifices when JP was young. His father Major Powell played Division II football at Savannah State. Pass is complete to Luke Harpring, a legacy in the Georgia Tech athletics department. Redshirt sophomore tight end whose father, if you're a basketball fan, if you like Georgia Tech hoops, if you were an NBA fan, you remember his dad, Matt Harpring. By the way, his uniform number 15, which his son wears, is hanging just a short walk from here over at McCamish Pavilion as one of the great Yellow Jackets basketball players of all time.
Well, they threw him a nice little stick route, which is designed for a guy with his athleticism to get open, and they stuck it right on him. Well done.
Although we got to mention, Mom was also a Division I swimmer. Amanda went to Cornell, so some of the athleticism comes from Mom as well. There's some of the burst for J.P. Powell, the freshman out of Miller County High School, straight up the middle.
Yeah, you're right. You saw the burst. He hit that thing and accelerated. That was just a couple inches away from being a house call right there. Well done.
Goes for 18 yards. Nico Dowdell was the one that kept that at 18 yards, coming up with the stop on number 20. He also credits being a 4-sport athlete in high school, which used to be the norm, not so much anymore, with helping develop him all around athletically. Give him the football once again, finds the hole, then gets popped at the 40-yard line.
Handoff number 20.
You know, they have a very diversified run game, and on that particular play, they ran wide zone play, which is a play that they want to make go here at Georgia Tech. And he did a very nice job of sticking his foot in the ground and making the right read and getting vertical. He's a good back, a talented guy. You can see it. I see why the coach is so excited about him.
Crowd down by A.J. Cheeks. Now Traylon Maddox, redshirt freshman running back into the ball game. Philo fires, little low. Did somebody get a finger on that perhaps? DeBron Gatling, the intended receiver.
It looked like it. It had a little flutter to it at the end, but I couldn't really see whether the defensive end got his hands on the ball or not. Yeah, I think he did, yes. That ball was tipped, created a little bit of flutter. Wonder why it died like that, because, you know, when you look at Aaron Philo's ball, they're pretty accurate, and that one took a nosedive, so definitely got deflected there. Good replay.
Third down. Philo checks it down, caught at the 43-yard line. Make a man miss, got a penalty marker down. Looks like it's going to go against the tight end, number 83.
Yeah, that's Blake Ragsdale. He kind of bear hugged him, and you know, his hands got outside the framework of the body, and it's a good call by the officials. Let's see what happens here.
But again, the Georgia Tech offense playing today without wide receivers Malik Rutherford, Eric Rivers, and Dean Patterson, the two FIU transfers who are expected to play. Now no foul.
Well, when the head coach walks over and talks to the officials in a spring game, you can get that done. That's the prerogative you have out there.
A little different than the fall. Maddox eludes one tackle, able to make something positive out of it, and gets near a first down, staying inbounds inside the 20-yard line. A real nice run for Traylon Maddox.
They ran a little counter play, and you know, Brent Key talks about his plays: wide zone play, inside zone play, counter play. That's the counter play. That was a heck of a run, real physical run. You can see they got the makings. They talked about having a really good running room, running back room. They have a good running back room. You can see it right now.
And Maddox is the biggest. He's the only guy in that room taller than 5'10". They list him at 6'1", 210 pounds. And he does move the chains, a first down run to get into the red zone.
He's got power. You need that.
Still just a redshirt freshman, listed at 210 pounds. Screen pass caught inside the 17-yard line. Jamari Bryce, a freshman from Cartersville, Georgia, and that takes it. And here's what we got yesterday. They're hoping that Harrison Moore, number 52, will be the starting center. We know Keelan Rutledge is going to be the starting right guard. Jamison Riggs penciled in as the starting right tackle. Joe Fusel, starting left guard. He's not playing today because of injury. And that is where they are starting. And Tana Alo-Tupuola is also in the mix at center or one of the guard positions. Pass to DeBron Gatling.
Really nice job with pocket presence on that play and delivering a really good ball there, low and away from the defender. Really well executed. I'm impressed with Aaron Philo. I'm impressed with his accuracy and his touch on his balls.
Last year in 4 games, Philo completed 38 of 74 passes for 565 yards. That one went for 19 yards, handed off to Powell, and that's a touchdown. First touchdown of the spring game goes to the true freshman out of Miller County High School here in Georgia.
Nice little drive they put together there. That was a well executed drive with a lot of good diversity in the play calling, and they punched it in there for a touchdown. That was impressive. You know, you can see now why they feel so good about both quarterbacks. You know, with Haynes King and with Aaron Philo. I mean, when you have 2 guys of this ability level and you can have that kind of depth in this conference, it gives you a good deal of confidence, and you can see why.
Andrew Nelms on to attempt the point after. And it is good to make the score 10-0 early second quarter for Team Recco.
I request a colon cancer screening kit from Cologuard.com, and if I'm eligible, it gets delivered to my drawbridge. Aces.
Cologuard is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk. False positive and negative results may occur. Request a Cologuard kit online.
Consumer Reports ranks car brands.
An impressive 11-play, 80-yard drive. Took a little over 5 minutes and finished off with J.P. Powell punching it in from 1 yard out. Philo, the quarterback, 5 of 6 throwing to help direct our first touchdown drive of the afternoon. And so the kickoff will come from Aiden Burr, the redshirt junior, who over 2 years at Georgia Tech has done a good job. He's got a big leg, better 2 years ago than he was last year at kicking field goals. But I got the sense Coach Key pretty happy about where they are right now with their special teams. In this spring game, we don't have normal kicks and returns, though, just going through the exercise, and that allows for us to send it down to Maryland, who is standing by, just chatted with J.P. Powell, the touchdown man.
JP, you just scored the first TD of the spring game, but you're breathing more heavily than you thought you might. What were your expectations?
I'm just coming back from a concussion. And it was like, I was in my head, I got to get back out. So I came out, got to running hard and everything. Got my first touchdown, feel great.
I know running back depth is important for Tech this year. What have you learned working with your teammates and peers that helped you on the drive?
I learned a lot. It matters about the ball protection. You can't, like, the ball protection, as Coach said, we don't need the ball on the ground. Then we got to move forward. Don't brace for contact. You got to show the little through contact.
We showed it. You showed it for us. We appreciate your time. Have fun today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Maryland. We just saw a 19-yard completion to Zion Taylor, redshirt sophomore from Norcross, Georgia. And the run by Dalen Gordon, redshirt senior, former walk-on, who has had a really, really good camp, has earned a spot on the offense as well, not just as a special teamer. It's interesting to see the new guys. There are a lot of new faces, as we have in college athletics, Coach, over and over again. There are 18 transfers on the roster this spring and 12 freshmen who have enrolled early. There will be 11 more freshmen arriving this summer, but J.P. Powell is among what was a very good haul for Coach Key. They are very high on a number of their true freshmen, and for good reason.
Excellent recruiting class. Great opportunity in spring ball for them to be developed and to be able to showcase their skills. And then he's still coming out in a spring game like this, especially for young players. I think that's important. Just the environment, the stadium, you see how they perform when the lights are on, so to speak. So really good evaluation for the staff and a good experience for these young recruits.
Well, they landed 6 high school players last year who were in the ESPN 300. So again, that's another indication that Coach Key and his staff have this program moving in the right direction. Josh Petty, the offensive tackle, considered to be, great catch right there by J.T. Burns, showing the hands to haul it in at about the 39-yard line. But Josh Petty, Tay Harris, Christian Garrett, Peyton Joseph, and Dalen Penson are 5 guys who were rated in the top 300, and all but Penson are here right now playing in the spring game.
Yeah, like you said, that's a sign that you have a healthy program, that there's good energy in your program. Your players are happy in your program, because when the recruits come in, they feed off of that. So that's a very good indication of where Georgia Tech's headed.
Haynes King fires the other way, got a completion, trying to get away from his defenders. Chris Elko able to get across midfield to the 49-yard line. Elko's first reception of the afternoon.
really nice job here staying in the pocket. And Haynes throws a really good ball. Nice catch. And really a good tackle as well. I mean, I just thought that was A.J. Cheeks got him around the legs and got him down on the ground when it looked like he might break away.
King has time, again completes over the middle to J.T. Byrne. He's a big target, 6'5", 255 from Carmel by the Sea in California, 13 yards on the pickup. Let's check in with Maryland with Coach Key.
Coach is making jokes down here. How do you assess the play that you've seen from your kind of rebuilding offensive line this so far?
Tell you what, we've been able to get some movement and get some positive runs. Now some of them though are bouncing outside. They're the intent of us to be inside, and they're bouncing out. You got one right here. Stay inside. See right there. I mean, you can't let one guy bring you down on that. All right, so. Just, we got to sustain blocks longer. Still mechanics of some of it. Some of the timing's a little slow on it, just from the ball handling and whatnot. But I've been pleased so far. I think we've got pretty clean football going on. And guys are competing and having fun.
Some good runs from a few of your younger running backs. How do you feel about the depth in that room after what you've seen today? Yeah, it's good. That's what you're trying to build. You're trying to build depth, and especially at that position. I mean, you got to have 5 in the season to be able to play and make it through a season, and by the nature of the position. So it's exciting to see Trey and JP both have some good plays. You talked about toughness. How do you feel about the spirit your team is showing you to this point? All right, come on! Toughness or TD, you take it.
Well, on the double pass, Jamal Haynes, we saw him working on that play yesterday in practice, finds Zion Taylor for the highlight touchdown, 38 yards to the house.
Gotta love the trick plays in the spring games. That's all part of having fun and having a lot of excitement on the field. That was great to see. Well executed, too. Jamal's got a little bit of an arm.
No doubt.
He played receiver, he played running back. Maybe you're going to have to play a little quarterback. Well, they got two good ones in there, though.
Well, I mentioned to Coach Key yesterday during that practice that indeed Haynes has a good arm, and didn't know they'd pull it out for today, but they certainly did, and it worked very, very well.
Sure did. Fun to see.
So Team Swarm is on the board. The big highlight to Zion.
I got to tell him, though, he's got no ups. No ups. I mean, he got about a quarter of an inch off the ground right there. Not good. Not good at all.
Well, I got a kick yesterday as we sat in our production meeting. Just a couple old offensive linemen talking football, you and Coach Key. Let's go down to Maryland with Coach Key.
Yeah, Coach Key, I asked you about toughness. Right as Jamal let that one fly. Tell me about that play call.
I mean, hunting season's not really in right now with spring, but it was like shooting pheasant or something, right? The way it was flying up in the air and floating. But trying to build depth at the quarterback position, so I think we're getting that done with him. And look, like I said, we want to be able to show our discipline and toughness and how you play the game and how we're building this football team, but also be able to have fun and these guys enjoy a little bit of a celebration for the last 15 days of spring practice.
Now, Jamal, Coach, I mean, he's kind of throwing some shade there. How do you assess that pass by you?
I'm going to have to agree with him. If I had my 12 gauge as well, I probably would have shot a duck out there.
Receivers, man. You got receivers at catch.
Absolutely. I got great receivers. I trust them. But like Coach Key said, it's our last 15 days of spring practice. We're out here to have fun and enjoy ourselves.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks.
Well, throwing the football is just part of what Jamal Haynes can do. Last couple of years, per Pro Football Focus, among power conference running backs, Jamal Haynes is #1 in the country in yards before contact and #4 in the country in yards after contact. So versatile.
That shows you his toughness right there. He can not only make you miss, but he's going to run through you. And now we got a clip of him throwing what they said was maybe a little bit of a quail up there. But I tell you what, he had a guy right in his face. He let that thing go. I don't think they should be talking down on him like that. It was a heck of a deal.
Yeah, looked good to me. ESPN college football reporters took a poll in recent days, and they came up with Jamal Haynes as the 9th best running back in the country. They said Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame is #1, Nicholas Singleton of Penn State #2. In the ACC, you've got Louisville's Isaac Brown checking in at #5, Des Reed at Pitt #7, and then Haynes #9 in the country. Sound good to you, Coach?
Yeah, I could buy into that. I think that's pretty accurate. And he's got a lot of versatility. You know, he can run through contact. He can make you miss. He has good hands to catch the ball, and he's got a great personality. And I think, you know, this is a guy that's going to really give them an opportunity to win a lot of football games.
Well, third-team All-ACC a couple of years ago, and he went over 1,000 yards rushing. Last year, 944 on the ground, made honorable mention All-ACC. Yeah, I think we're going to get a whistle here. That's the kind of play a head coach on the sidelines like, yeah, let's bust that. We don't want anybody getting hurt.
I can remember standing back there where Brent's standing saying to myself, what are we doing here? What's this?
A little street football right here.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just a broken play, and good thing they blew that dead. Best part is that 2nd and 10, they didn't lose any yards.
Well, we get an opportunity now to see the tallest man in the quarterback room. Graham Knowles, 6'7", a redshirt freshman from Southlake, Texas. And while he is number 3 on the depth chart as his pass is completed, Luke Harpering took a shot from behind. They are high about Graham Knowles. We may not see him on the field this fall, but they think he's got a bright future.
He's got a nice release, a nice delivery on the throw. He puts a little good spin on it. So, you know, he looks like he's got some height, and good opportunity for him to get out and showcase. I love that about spring.
Well, he, like the other quarterbacks, are very high on their quarterback coach, Chris Wenke, who of course won the Heisman Trophy back in 2000 in Florida State. And the relationship that he has with Graham Knowles, with Aaron Filer, with Haynes King, and the 4th QB, Ben Guthrie, has been invaluable in their growth.
Yeah, I spoke with Haynes yesterday, and he really talked about, you know, what a great job that Chris did helping him learn how to set his feet properly and get the right angles on his throws. So he had a great deal of respect for him, for sure.
Well, they know Wenke has been there, done that, 5 years in the NFL. He played minor league baseball for the Blue Jays for 6 years, got to AAA. So he's one of those throwback kind of guys, excellent in more than one position. That pass incomplete from Knowles, trying to find Gatling. Amari Harvey, the Auburn transfer, now heading into his 4th year with the Yellow Jackets. Among the many players on the defensive side of the football that DC Blake Gideon told us yesterday, Coach, he thinks could play in the NFL.
Yeah, he was high on Amari. Amari's one of their best players on defense, and you saw he had great coverage on that, and the way he undercut that route right there. You can see he is a smooth athlete and going to have a fantastic season.
On 3rd down and 5, Knowles goes deep down the far sideline into double coverage, and it's incomplete. Clayton Powell-Lee, another one of those NFL prospects, there to break it up as DeBron Gatling couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, this is a ill-advised throw here across the field like that. This is how interceptions come in. So, I'm not sure you want to do that. I'm sure they'll talk with him and say, listen, sometimes you just got to eat it and not put the ball up in the air like that. But it's a spring game, so everybody's kind of letting it go.
James Watley now punting. And again, the specialists, the punters, the kickers, and the quarterbacks all wearing green for this scrimmage. Fair catch by Jamal Haynes. And that takes us to our next break with 5:19 remaining here in the first half. We've been able to see what the star quarterback Haynes King and the star running back Jamal Haynes have been able to do here in the first half, but we're not getting to see the new star wide receiver Eric Rivers out with a shoulder injury. He's expected to be fine for the start of the football season about 4.5 months from now, but he's not been a full go this spring. But here's a taste of what he did last year at FIU. First team All-Conference USA. He is a real burner, and the idea is he can step in and help fill the gap for Eric Singleton, who transferred out to Auburn and has a real chance to be an All-ACC receiver.
Yeah, he really does. You see how he tracks the deep ball. He can really extend his arms. He's got great eye-hand coordination, and he can make you miss as well.
Omar Daniels with the interception. Big return. And the whistles blow when he got inside the 30-yard line, but an ill-advised pass picked off by the redshirt senior. Philo is intercepted. And Daniels, the Kansas State transfer, with a big play on defense.
Aaron Philo threw that into double coverage and hung the ball up in the air. Didn't really have a good follow through on his throw, and it was an ill-advised throw. And really nice interception, and they blew the whistle. I'm not sure he wouldn't have scored a touchdown. But once again, it's spring ball. coach's prerogative.
Now, number 9, Omar Daniels, one of 4 kids, parents Ontario and Umeko out of Colquitt County High School, a 22-yard return. So Philo's numbers now at quarterback. He is 8 of 12 passing, 79 yards, and that interception. You know what? We'll give you the other numbers. We may not see Haynes King again today. They've got a very short number of quarterbacks in that QB room. Only 4 on the roster, but we don't expect to see Haynes King. So his numbers right now, 9 of 12 passing for 66 yards, including a couple of drops. Let's go back down to Maryland.
Before I got to talk about the play, let's show off the grill.
Nah, just a little NIL deal, a little something, nothing crazy.
Okay, and making plays already to make the NIL deal worth it for you and for them. What did you see when that ball came out of Aaron's hands, maybe not quite like he wanted it to?
I seen one-on-one, press to the over there, so I automatically knew he was going to take the one-on-one. So Coach Peoples been teaching, get out the post, touch my instincts, and I went right away.
Coach Gideon came in. He's a former DB. How have you grown under his leadership in his time here?
It's good. He's allowing us to play fast, so it's been real good. Him playing the position and coaching a lot of great DBs, him and Coach Peoples coming together, it's helping us a lot.
Awesome. Thanks for the time. Have fun.
Thank you. You too.
Knowles with a little touch, trying to find J.P. Powell down the near sideline. It falls incomplete. But yeah, big moment for Omar Daniels, one of the safeties who'll be counted on heavily this fall with the interception. He was a 3-star recruit coming out of Moultrie, Georgia, who originally picked Kansas State. Spent a couple of years as a Wildcat. Last 2 years at Georgia Tech. He started 5 games last year, and he'll probably play a bigger role this fall.
Yeah, I was impressed with how he described what the coaches wanted to do and coming out of the post like that. And that's exactly what he did, and made a great play.
Knowles going to tuck it and run, and the whistle comes. Graham Knowles, a good athlete. His father, Mark, is a 4-time Grand Slam tennis tournament champion. 3 in doubles. He won the Australian, the French, and the U.S. Open. And he won Wimbledon in mixed doubles. That is Graham Knowles' father, Mark. And you get a taste of the athletic ability that his 6'7" son has here in football.
Yeah, he doesn't run bad for a guy that's got that kind of height, you know, and gets in the open field, and he can really eat up some yardage.
I would think Damon Stoudemire over at McCamish Pavilion wouldn't mind having him around, at least for practice. Andrew Nelms from 47 yards away misses. And so the score holds at 10-7. Team Wreckham over Team Swarm. 3:15 remaining second quarter.
You know, I watched these young men compete against each other here, and you can tell that they're a well-coached team. There's been plenty of opportunities. Oh, there's my guy, Big Red, Keelan Rutledge, number 77. He is their best offensive lineman. He's a mauler. He's got great explosion coming off the ball, and he's got an all-ACC nickname, Big Red.
Big Red, and for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be one of the better offensive linemen in the country. They rave about him. He's a captain. He's about everything that's right in football, his work ethic and how much Georgia Tech means to him. A lot of fun to watch him play.
Well, thanks to a devastating traffic accident, he played last year, starting the season at only 75%, finished the season only 50%, and yet still, coach, was first-team All-ACC.
That tells you something about how tough he is. They say darn near lost his toe.
As he was transferring in from Middle Tennessee State, actually on the day he came for his official visit here at Georgia Tech, was in a bad crash, and he is somebody who has persevered and has an NFL future ahead of him. Big Red, number 77. And always looking for somebody to hit. You know what that's like, former offensive lineman.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta love it, you know. That's what it's all about. Yeah, look at that. He's in protection. Boom! Hits the knockout right there. That's what I like. That's what I call a finish. And when I watch linemen, I want to see if they finish, because then I know how they got some toughness. That's beautiful right there. What a great clip.
Well, he says his toughness comes from his mom, Miranda, single parent who has done so much for Keelan.
A wonderful young man with a bright future. Good story.
He's a hooper, too. 1,000 points as a high school basketball player.
What do you think? Linemen can't be athletic?
They're more athletic than people realize.
Oh,
you know, all these guys.
You gotta be a good athlete to play up front. That's what it's all about. Good athlete, physical, tough, handsome. He's got it all working.
Well, you know, you as a former offensive lineman at Central Connecticut State, you were good enough for the Blue Devils to get a look in the NFL. And again, I mentioned it earlier as we come up on 4th down with the punt. The two of you, along with Brent Keefe, former All-ACC offensive lineman here at Georgia Tech, just talking football yesterday. It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. We're like kindred spirits, you know. I mean, talking to each other, and he believes what I believe. We have the same philosophies. He's building a culture. I love coaches that build culture in their program. That's what it's about to be. We're here teachers first. We're about the development of young men. He wants to develop young men that are going to be proud about their career at Georgia Tech. It just was fun. It was exciting to be around them, and he lifts everybody up in the room. That's why recruits are attracted to him, and that's why this team loves him.
And it seems like, Coach, he's got the balance between recruiting and development and the transfer portal in the proper perspective. He's not shying away from either one of them, but when the portal opens back up on Wednesday, they're looking to go get 3 or 4 guys, but they're not looking to always reform their entire roster.
You got it. That's exactly right. And that's I think that's the winning formula. And that's what it should be all about. So he's just done a great job.
Well, he's got his 3rd string quarterback, Graham Knowles, back out there, along with Dalen Gordon, redshirt senior running back. Take the handoff to him. Knowles rolling right. Throws across his body, incomplete, off of the outstretched hand of his intended receiver, number 84, David Prince, who has been active. Young man from Brunswick, Georgia. We have called his number several times here today.
Like you said, he was thrown across his body, and those are dangerous throws. Usually when you get in that position, you're better off throwing it out of bounds, burning it, playing 2nd down. But he's a young quarterback, and he's going to learn.
You know, we were talking about the projected starting offensive lineman. Failed to mention Ethan McKinney. He's expected to start at left tackle again this year. Hook it up with the tight end Luke Harpring. Out of the Marist School here in Atlanta. He continues to impress. 15 yards for number 15.
He's a good receiving tight end. He's got good ball skills, but of course, you know, his dad was such a heck of a player. Oh yeah, he's got the same number. You know, look at that. Of course, why not, right? Fantastic. That's fun.
Well, we have reached the 2-minute timeout.
2-minute timeout.
And we'll be back to Bobby Dodd Stadium right after this. With Steve Adazio and Marilyn Payne, I'm Doug Sherman. Glad you're with us for this annual white and gold spring game here at Georgia Tech. And we've got a perfect day for football. It feels like the Atlanta Braves should be getting ready for Game 4 of the World Series right now. And it feels like the Falcons should be playing tomorrow. It feels like football weather.
It sure does. I mean, this really lifts me up. You know, you get into the spring, you get to a game like this, and you feel the energy of the stadium of football, and it just really makes you, wow, I can't wait for the fall to get here, you know? Wonderful.
Well, we are about 4.5 months away from the start of the real season, and it will happen for Georgia Tech in Boulder, Colorado against Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. Knowles throws incomplete. Gatling was the closest receiver. And again, DeBron Gatling is expected to be one of the big weapons on the outside. We haven't really mentioned, again, Malik Rutherford is the top returning receiver, a redshirt senior from Miami. He is out today. And also Dean Patterson, the other transfer from FIU. He, along with Eric Rivers, it's quite a package deal that they have added to their wide receiver room, but neither is playing here today. Gatling on the crossing route is dropped for a loss of about a yard. Kelvin Hill, not to be confused with the 4-time Pro Bowl running back Calvin Hill. This is Kelvin, K-E-L-V-I-N, sophomore from Carrollton, Georgia. And the coaches say they really love his game.
Yeah, they're high on him. I feel like he's going to have a great future here at Georgia Tech. A lot of good young players. They've got a lot of good players.
Well, he was a day 1 starter last year as a true freshman at UAB, and now getting the opportunity at Georgia Tech. Clayton Powell-Lee with the sliding interception.
He's another guy that the defensive staff is extremely excited about. You know, Blake Gideon spoke about him, CP Lee, and he's a guy they feel is got some pro potential on this Georgia Tech defense.
He's another legacy guy in this roster. Clayton Powell Lee's father, Gary Lee, played wide receiver for Bill Curry back in the 80s, drafted by Detroit. And let's go down to Maryland with more on Clayton Powell Lee.
Yeah, CP Lee said this week that the biggest growth he's had this spring is what we just saw. He said it's knowing that I have not just the physical ability, but being able to trust my instincts and go after a play at 100%. So even if I'm making a mistake here and there, it will be at 100. He said that's just different than from how I played when I was young. We just saw it.
Well, he became a starter 5 games into his true freshman season when Jalen King got hurt. And he has been a big piece of this defense right along. 27 yards to Bailey Stockton.
Nice job escaping in the pocket there by Aaron Philo to make that throw to Bailey Stockton. Good completion.
That pass batted down at the line of scrimmage. There's a good look at Aaron Philo, the redshirt freshman, 6'2", 215 pounds, got into 4 games, played well in his brief appearances, helped him win a couple of games. He's another guy who played multiple sports in high school. He threw a no-hitter as a pitcher as a freshman on the varsity.
Wow. So he's got a lot of athletic ability.
Philo misses his intended receiver, Chris Elko.
They're getting a little bit of penetration up front, and giving Aaron a little bit of happy feet back there, but I think the offensive line's got to shore that up a little bit. Looks like Braden Manley, who they're really excited about. They feel like he's going to be one of their elite pass rushers, and you could see on that play that he did hit great get off and got inside of that tackle, and that's what Aaron Philo felt on that play.
Yeah,
here he is again.
Manley's a number 11 in white. That pass was picked off even though the whistle blew, so no return. But Braden Manley was the Southern Conference Defensive Player of the Year last year, second team FCS All-American. And his coaches say he brings pass rush juice coming from Mercer.
On the field is the quarterback was sacked.
Yeah.
So the sack, no interception. And it was something both Brent Key and his coordinators talked about, how important it was within the transfer portal, Coach. They went and got a Defensive Player of the Year out of the SoCon and Braden Manley to play defensive end, but they also got the Offensive Player of the Year out of the Ivy League, running back Malachi Hosley, who I think they anticipate will step right in to be their number 2 back.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. You're talking about guys that are more mature than some guys coming out of high school. They have proven film, and they're bringing them up a level. And you see right now, Braden Manley's got real juice on the edge. I mean, he's wearing the offensive line out a little bit right now.
That's a 43-yard field goal for Aiden Burr, which takes us.
That is the end of the first half.
To halftime. Our score is tied 10 apiece. We will have running clock in the second half and go deeper and deeper into the roster on both sides on this day and on this season. The head coach Brent Key says he wants to be about fun, and I think everybody's having fun in the building so far. Let's go back down to Maryland.
You talk so much about the importance of fundamentals for your offensive build right now. How do you assess what you've seen?
Well, we've kept it pretty simple for the guys. We've got a lot of young guys out there, seen a lot of progress really throughout the course of spring, and then really today, we'd like to cut out the turnovers, but look.
He's ready for it, and as he said, they're keeping it pretty vanilla out there. And he just wants them to play base, play hard, play physical, run to the football. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking to show a lot of scheme here.
Well, he's very aware of the fact that he's the 3rd defensive coordinator in 3 years at Georgia Tech. So for the veteran players, he understands it's our defense, it's not my defense. He wants to make sure everybody's comfortable and on the same page.
Alignment, that's the word. Everybody's got to be aligned. He's got to run through the program.
Aaron Philo, his first pass of the second half, completed to Zion Taylor for 8 yards. We've got running time in the 3rd and 4th quarters, as opposed to the more normal stoppage throughout the first half. And so Wick will move right along as we try to keep track of everybody out there. And just because you were on Team Reckham to start doesn't mean you're still on Team Reckham. We're not sure who's out there with Team Swarm. And some of the rooms, some of the positions are kind of thin because of injuries, and so they're trying to make up for that by shuffling the roster around. Looked like a well-thrown ball. Zion Taylor could not make the catch.
Yeah, he put that on a rope. They brought a corner fire from the boundary. I haven't seen many pressures, but they brought it on that play. And you know, so he got the ball out here really quickly and put it a little bit on a rope. It was certainly catchable, but I like the awareness of Aaron Philo to that pressure and that blitz and getting to that receiver.
And that was Christian Pritchett in coverage, the sophomore out of St. Augustine High School in New Orleans. Philo tiptoes his way along the line of scrimmage. Then the whistle comes before any of the defenders can get after him. Jason Moore, number 95, was right there with him. And you got a sense in that first half, Coach, that both sides are very aware of the health and safety of their teammates today.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it again right there. They brought the corner fire, and he came, you know, untouched, and he throttled down and bent down so that when the quarterback threw the ball, he's not going to hit his hand on his helmet. I've seen a lot of cooperation going on this, and that's coaching. And that starts with Coach Key. And these kids have been coached to take care of each other in a competitive environment and not doing silly things that can get people hurt and cost them their careers. So, good sign, another of a good program, well coached.
Brent Key was one of the foundational pieces for George O'Leary here at Georgia Tech back in the late 90s and early 2000s. The 4 years he was in uniform on the offensive line, they finished the season in the top 25 every year. He knows what it looks like to win football games at a very high level here at Tech.
And he played for George O'Leary. George O'Leary is one of the fine coaches out there, and a really tough guy, and he was tutored the right way. And I know he has great respect for Coach O'Leary, who comes by every now and then and again. And he's laid a good foundation here for Brent Key.
Well, Brent Key said he always knew he wanted to be a coach, had opportunities to try out when he graduated from Tech for some NFL opportunities playing. But Coach O'Leary said, you've got a GA spot here now if you want it. A year from now, it might not be here. And so after, I guess, working in, wow. DeBron Gatling gets dumped on his head by Amari Harvey.
I just talked about the cooperation, and that's not an example of it there. That was an unnecessary body slam to the ground. That's how people get hurt for no reason.
As they work on him, it's going to finish up about Coach Key. He worked in real estate, he said, for 6 weeks, hated it, and realized I'm a football coach.
Unnecessary roughness, defense number 3. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So if you're the coach here, do you do anything, say anything to your player who just committed that penalty?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You bring him over and you say, listen, I know you're a competitor. I know you're in the heat of the moment. You're trying to make a play. But we got to take care of each other here. We want to be physical. We want to be tough. But that's our teammate. We know that's not our opponent. And you move forward. You move forward.
Traylon Maddox, the ball carrier.
Running a little wide zone there. I've seen that's their marquee play, the wide zone. And I've seen a few of them, but nice little job. Good blocking up front on that. Got a lot of push, a lot of movement. Put them in a real manageable short second and 1, 2nd and 2.
Graham Knowles in at quarterback, the redshirt freshman from South Lake, Texas. Fakes the handoff. Got a first down completion to Zion Taylor, who makes the first man miss and gets inside the 40-yard line.
We're running that counter read play with a triple option off of it. So he read that, Knowles did. He read that, pulled the ball, and then threw it out as the pitch phase of that play out to the perimeter. That was well executed.
Knowles, quick release. Finds a man in the slot for the completion, and that gives us an opportunity to send it back down to Maryland.
Got Hank King obviously here with me. We talked earlier this week about the spirit of the spring game, Coach being a little old-fashioned, wanting you guys to have fun. What did you feel with your teammates today that you really like?
I mean, just going out here, having fun, being able to operate, and just executing what you're supposed to do your 111 and have some fun, you know. This is where you get to showcase your ability and showcase what you've worked hard for the whole off season so far, and just go out there and have fun.
You've been working, you've been scrimmaging and emphasizing situational football. How did you feel in some of those more particular moments today?
I mean, I feel like so far we've handled them for the most part pretty good. I hadn't really seen too many situations, but we've gotten into certain situations, whether it's second and long, second and medium, stuff like that, keeping the chains moving. You know, if it's in second and long, what can you do to get into third and manageable instead of trying to force something? Now you're in a third and long, or you might turn it over. So just stuff like that, just finding ways to keep the ball moving. And I mean, hell, if you keep the ball moving, keep the chains moving, you're going to get more opportunities to score.
Nice conversion to set up the double pass, TD. What is it like when you watch some of the younger running backs, younger offensive linemen, guys on your side of the ball who are coming in and growing into roles, step out on the field in front of fans for the first time?
Oh, it's pretty remarkable, pretty fun. Everybody's rooting them on. But the main deal is, you know, what can they do when they get put in live situations like this? Do they play fast? Do they play physical? Are they tough? And so far they've shown all those skills, and it's fun to be around, and it's just fun to be around all these guys. And we have a great locker room, what we have right now. And Coach Key, he's fighting to keep it.
I know you're trying to keep your eyes on the game here. I'll let you go watch your teammates. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Strange day for Haynes King because his folks aren't here. Normally they are here, certainly for a spring football game coming from Texas, but they are watching our broadcast from Shreveport, Louisiana, where Haynes' sister Steely is competing in the Division II National Gymnastics Championship for Texas Women's University. She's an All-American in the vault. That's what she was last year. So the rest of the family, including Grandpa Wayne, not here in person, but watching here on the ACC Network Extra. We're glad they're able to join us. All the rest of you as well for a little bit of spring football in Atlanta.
Well, they are a great family and awful proud of Haynes, and should be. He's a great representative of this sport, a great representative of Georgia Tech, and super talented guy. You heard him speaking with Maryland, and just really a sharp guy. I'm so thrilled for him, and he just looks like he's set to have a phenomenal year.
Well, in talking to his dad, John, earlier this week, who I know you know, he said Haynes was always a quiet kid, but every once in a while he'd hear him from the other room giggling, and that meant he was watching his favorite show, The Three Stooges, with his grandfather.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we asked Haynes about that yesterday, and you saw him light up. He still likes the Three Stooges. You never outgrow the Stooges.
How do you not like the Stooges? I mean, I grew up watching the Three Stooges. I loved it. Wouldn't miss it.
Well, he was quick
hilarious.
He was quick to point out not the movie Stooges, but the black and white Stooges back in the day, old school.
That's right.
So Haynes King looking forward to what should be a good season for him at quarterback. Ranked in the top 10 nationally in returning quarterbacks for the fall of 2025.
Well, he's tough. He's physical. He can throw the ball really well. He's an exceptional runner and a great leader. I think those are elements that can bring you a lot of wins.
Well, ESPN senior college football writer Adam Rittenberg, as the pass is thrown away, says he's the 9th best quarterback in the country. You could even convince people, I mean, he's a dual threat guy who can really hurt you. He piles up numbers that not a lot of quarterbacks in the country can, both running and throwing. Could he potentially work his way even to be a dark horse in the Heisman race? Is that a ceiling that you would put on him? I don't know, but they really are excited about what he can do this fall.
He absolutely can. Lead your team, have a great year, win a bunch of games. Why not? He's a talented guy, and he deserves it.
Traylon Maddox cuts it back, nowhere to run, as he has dropped it about the 10-yard line. That'll bring up 4th down.
It's a fast quarter, running time, huh? Look at that. That clock goes down quick. Right now, the coaches are, you know, you're torn because you want to see these guys have a chance to play, but you want to keep everybody healthy. And you're saying, let's get out of here healthy.
So Andrew Nelms will come on and attempt the field goal from 27 yards. Got a little bit of breeze today on a cool, crisp afternoon in Atlanta. That is between the uprights, good. And so Team Wreckham retakes the lead at 13-10.
Look at the skyline out here. Is this beautiful or what?
It's a wonderful setting in downtown Atlanta. Not every college football setting has this. As often as not, you're in a college town away from a metropolitan area, but that is not the vibe you get here at Georgia Tech, and you get to come here and go to school at a world-class institution.
Yeah, I mean, you guys talk about recruiting. Why, like here, why Georgia Tech? I mean, the power of their degree. The starting salary for their graduates is $75,000. You know, big city. Unbelievable. ACC football, tradition, new facilities they're building here. They're the #4 public university in the country. I mean, they have so many things working here, and a program that's on the rise with a lot of energy and some talented players.
Ball teed up at the 35-yard line. I get a kick out of seeing all the majors that the student athletes are studying. Engineering, biology. These are real student athletes. Let's go down to Maryland with one of those student athletes, Big Red, Jordan Vandenberg.
Yeah, Jordan, you weren't here until the middle of summer, really May last year. What's it been like completing a full spring and that culminating in this spring game today for you?
You know, I really missed out last year on some valuable time. Definitely, your spring is really where you hone in on your skills and really tighten up all your technique. So I'm really thankful that I was able to come and do that, especially with the new defense getting implemented and really just cleaning up some of my pass rush and everything.
Where do you feel you've become more connected with other defensive linemen and your teammates throughout this course?
I definitely feel like we're more on the same page. So now we're able to point out protections, communicate as a whole, call our own stunts up front. So it's really been a good process.
I know you and I talked about it on the phone, but tell me what your favorite part of the new defense that's been put in place is.
Some of my favorite parts is how we're able to play just so freely and quickly. Like, we're able to keep some of the best stuff that we had last year and really put in some new stuff. And a lot of it's just allowing us to play fast and vertical. So I really am enjoying it a lot.
We'll let you have fun the rest of the day with your teammates. Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You can hear JJ still has a hint of a Dutch accent. He was born and lived in South Africa until he was 10 when the family moved here to Georgia. And actually his teammates goof on him a little bit, all in a good way about that accent. But his head coach says every play for him is a street fight. He is our heart and soul.
Yeah, I'm so glad she did that. Maryland did the interview. He is truly their best player on their defense, and he and Keelan Rutledge compete against each other every day and have physical battles. That makes them and everyone around them better. He's an elite player that they feel has a tremendous future beyond college.
Bailey Stockton with the catch, 19 yards. What a throw here, Coach.
Yeah, right on the money. Really, really well-placed ball. Good catch, good operation. These kids are playing. They're still playing right now and having fun and getting better.
Aaron Philo slings it the other way, and it's incomplete. Chris Elko unable to make that grab.
Yeah, that was, he let him just a hair too much. It wasn't a bad throw, but gave a chance for the safety to come in there like heat-seeking missile.
Yeah, Omar Daniels was closing fast.
Omar was closing fast, but you know, they were smart right there. They avoided that big collision, which was good.
The running back number 20, J.P. Powell, the true freshman, 7th highest rated in the incoming class. I asked Coach Key yesterday what goes into whether your recruiting class enrolls early in January or wait to the summer. And it's about 50-50 this year. He talked about some of the kids want to stay in high school for a variety of reasons, like competing in spring sports. Sometimes they can't graduate early coming out of private school. But he likes the mix that they have, and he's always happy to have people get here because they start their development process a little earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the right response. I mean, it's different for each person. You have to judge it on an individual basis. You know, they have to be ready emotionally to be here because when they get here, it's a huge, huge adjustment. Is there an upside? There is, but if you put them in the wrong situation, it can be a little bit of a downside. So I think every family's got to make that decision, and coaches shouldn't pressure that.
So a couple of the offensive linemen who people here at Georgia Tech are so high on, highly rated. Josh Petty, number 69. He's 6'6", 260 pounds, out of Milton, Georgia. He was the number 24 recruit nationally in the ESPN 300, the highest rated recruit since a guy named Megatron was around here more than 20 years ago. So they think a lot of him, but will Josh Petty, will Peyton Joseph, another lineman who might be the most play-ready offensive lineman of the incoming class. As the 50-yard field goal is good by Aiden Burr. Will those guys be ready to make up what they don't know over the next 4.5 months? Getting getting another chance to see him as we head to the fourth quarter.
What is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know about you, but when I was in college, a 1 o'clock kickoff, I'd have had to set the alarm to get to for that.
Oh, how fun was that? We drove in ourselves today, and on Frat Row, they had bands playing, and everybody was outside enjoying this beautiful day. What an environment. What a scene. It was great. Great to be a college student.
No doubt about that. And great to be the head coach at your alma mater. 46 years old from Trussville, Alabama. He started 44 games as a player for the Yellow Jackets at right guard. And as head coach, he has guided the Jackets to back-to-back fourth-place finishes in the ACC and back-to-back bowl games for the first time since 2013 and 2014.
That's a good start right there, and there's more to come.
Well, it looks like Ben Guthrie, the 5'10" redshirt sophomore quarterback from Alpharetta, Georgia, with his first opportunity to play. Hands it off to J.P. Powell, who is escorted out of bounds at about the 25-yard line.
Well, we're going to have a chance with 14 minutes of running time here. Everybody's going to get in this game now, and that's the fun part about college football in the spring games. Everybody gets a chance to get on that field and play a little bit.
Well, Guthrie is the fourth of 4 quarterbacks currently on the roster. And you know, one position group we haven't talked an awful lot about that defensive coordinator Blake Gideon is really high on are the linebackers. We're not getting a chance to see your classic throwback middle linebacker Kyle Eford, number 44. He had shoulder surgery back on December the 1st. He is on schedule to be ready to go for fall practice, but you've got Tajay Butler, you've got E.J. Lightsey, all guys who Coach Gideon says will have a chance at the next level.
Yeah, he was excited about this group of linebackers, you know, with Kamen Spalding and Melvin Jordan. But E.J. Lightsey is a guy that they feel really is, he's a real super good player, transfer from Georgia. Physical guy that can run and is going to make a lot of plays here come the season for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and 2022 with the Bulldogs, he actually played against Tech. Last fall for Tech, he played in 9 games, got a couple of starts. George Edward E.J. Lightsey. And you're right, you mentioned Coach Melvin Jordan IV. He's an Oregon State transfer, who I was blown away by the fact that he played varsity football as an 8th grader at Largo Indian Rocks Christian School before 4 years on the varsity at Clearwater Central Catholic.
That's good high school football as well.
All right, we send it down to Maryland with Clayton Powell-Lee.
You got one of your team picks today. When you assess that moment, but everything your position group was put together today, how do you feel about what you did?
I'm very proud of my position group. Like, a big thing we always talk about is getting turnovers, and having 3 picks in a spring game shows a lot, showing that we're going to be productive in the back end. When the ball's in the air, it's ours, and we're just going to keep on playing like full speed, no hesitation. We're always going to, full throttle. That's what we talk about.
Talked about some of the changes that have come with new staff members on your side of the ball. Where do you feel those kind of execution points really make you a better football player?
Well, honestly, it starts with the D-line. That's where my execution comes in at. Without them, I'm nothing, honestly. So really just having them really just play to the best of their abilities, make me play to the best of my ability. And just the linebackers, they're just like that glue between the two of us, honestly. So playing with them, playing with that group out there, that special group out there is really going to – I'm excited for the fall, honestly. Like, I'm super excited for the fall. We're going to do some big things.
The list of your peers, younger teammates, that you rattled off that you cannot wait to see play this fall is so long. Can you tell Georgia Tech fans a little bit about the names they don't know but they need to know in the back end?
The names you don't know that's in the back end. Christian Pritchett, he had an interception today. Tate Harris, he's playing really good. Jaden Barr, he's playing good. A drop touchdown, I'm guessing. But we got Christian Pritchett, Jaden Barr, Tate Harris. We got Kelvin Hill. It's a lot of guys I can just rally off and just say that in the fall, you're going to look for them. They're going to be really shining on those Saturdays. I'm really proud of them and all the work they put in.
Thank you for the time. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Well, this was Zion Taylor with the 4th drop by a receiver today for the Yellow Jackets. Daquan White, the transfer from Eastern Michigan, was in coverage.
That was an awful good ball by Aaron Philo, thrown right there. That was on the money. That should have been caught. He'll watch that again. He's going to wish he caught that.
Philo with a nice fake And now they'll blow the whistle after he gets around midfield. Love the energy of Clayton Powell-Lee there with the interview with Marilyn. You know, he grew up here in Atlanta rooting for the Yellow Jackets because his father, Gary Lee, was a really good player who went on to the NFL to play with the Detroit Lions. A dream come true for him to wear the Georgia Tech uniform.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, just that lineage, that attachment to a university, it's really cool.
First down throw caught by Bailey Stockton. Young man from Bogart, Georgia, still on his feet, finally wrapped up from behind after a big gain down to the 33-yard line.
Some real nifty moves there. Let's watch the replay. Yeah, I mean, good throw, and he puts his foot in the ground, and then re-puts his foot in the ground, and then gets vertical with a little bit of speed. Nice job.
22 yards on the pickup for Bailey Stockton. Philo has Gordon out of the backfield, and they are moving the football down the field. Aaron Philo continues to show good things. How do you see Philo? I mean, he has shown such good things last year when filling in for the injured Haynes King, but he is patient and understands King is #1, but he still will play a big role on this team.
Yeah, I mean, you need depth. Things happen in a season, and at that position, you've got to keep a level of performance. And he's got a long future ahead. He's got a lot of years left to play, and he's won a game with his legs. He'll have a chance to win a game with his arm. I just think he had a great deal of security going to season with two guys of this level.
He has one rushing touchdown last year, beat North Carolina State. He also helped to beat Miami. He was the ACC Rookie of the Week after his performance here against the Wolfpack and the 18-yard touchdown run to claim victory for Tech. Nice job to get to the edge by Dalen Gordon, another one of the members of the deep running back room. 15 yards for the redshirt senior out of Dodge County, a former walk-on who has stuck with Georgia Tech, received a scholarship last year, and he has really had a good camp, further solidifying his place in this offense.
Those are good stories when guys come in as a walk-on and they earn a scholarship. There's just something special about that. Really fun to see that happen.
Philo going to be marked down at the 3-yard line. That'll bring up second down and goal.
A little read zone play for him. A little option there in Philo. Yeah, he's done a nice job. But I tell you, when I watch the day today, Haynes King is really an elite player. We watched him on the field today, the way he managed his reps, his throws, and he just had a real presence out there. I really like where he's at. And then, of course, you have a young man like Aaron Philo who's got a lot of ability that's waiting in the wings and gives you depth. It's a really good situation.
And Gordon has stood up. And if Haynes King can improve on what was a record-setting year last year, he had a Georgia Tech record completion rate, 73%. 73%.
That's good.
And even more impressively is what he did in terms of cutting down his interceptions from the year before. Right up the middle again, and again the defensive line stands strong at the 1-yard line to bring up fourth down and goal.
I'm watching Brent Key standing there on the 10, and he's looking, saying, can we just gain a yard? Can we gain a foot? I mean, you know, you're watching there and you're like, run the ball in the end zone, knock them back.
Well, Andre Fuller says otherwise. The true freshman from Grayson, Georgia, making that stop, the 8th highest in the historic Georgia Tech recruiting class. Dangerous pass picked off.
I really don't like that call down there. You got to get a foot. And we're going to throw the ball off the read. He's going to read this defensive end, pull it, and he's going to run the triple. Okay, disconnect, run it or throw it. He just flings it out there, and that's where Aaron Philo's youth and inexperience shows up. You know, you don't do that down here. That thing is, now you lost the potential to score here, and that's not good. Hand the ball off, go get a touchdown, go get a foot.
It's an interception by A.J. Cheeks, the redshirt sophomore from Lawrenceville, Georgia. We have called his name a number of times here today.
Yeah, he's had a good day. He's another good young player. Oh, boy. You hate to see that. You know, you're winding this thing down. That's just a bad decision. But that's what this is about. You got a chance to learn. Put yourself in those competitive situations. Go back and say, huh, I'm not going to do that again.
Well, I know, Coach, rosters are going to change. We've got the transfer portal coming up again on Wednesday. But where at this point, from what you know about your old conference, the ACC, would you imagine Georgia Tech might be able to slot in this fall?
Oh, I think they'll be right in the middle of the hunt for the conference here. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of parity in the ACC right now. I think Georgia Tech is as deep and as competitive as anybody at the top of this league. And as we talked about their schedule, their home schedule, I think they'll have a great opportunity to be in the thick of the race for the championship.
Good coverage there by Zach Tobey as he was defending DeBron Gatling. There you see the quarterback, Graham Knowles, former high school teammate and classmate of his offensive lineman and teammate Harrison Moore, penciled in to be the starting center at this point. Good patience to find Luke Harpring, who was putting up good numbers from the tight end position here this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it. I mean, Graham Knowles was in the pocket. He bounced in the pocket, got his feet set, stepped up, and found Luke Harpring and made a great completion, and nice quarterback play, good tight end play.
Gain of 13 yards to move the chains. Pass is complete. Once again, Graham Knowles, this time to Jamari Bryce. Well, there's your breakdown for the upcoming 2025 schedule. At home, Gardner Webb, Clemson, Temple, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Pittsburgh, and on the road, neutral, Colorado, Wake Forest, Duke, North Carolina State, Boston College, and Georgia is going to be played here in Atlanta, but at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and for a reported $10 million paycheck. So that's why the game won't be played here at Bobby Dodd. But as we know in college athletics, it's all about generating new revenue streams, and it's an opportunity also to get more people in the building to watch that big game.
Yeah. Great for both programs, and as you said, a financial reward. I used to look at those schedules, and you look at them and you say to yourself, okay, who are we better than? Who will we match up to? And who on paper might be a little bit ahead of us. Doesn't mean you can't beat them. And you look at it and you start to plan your strategy. And when you're at home and you have some great contests against some good teams, gives you a chance to step up and play at a high level. I like their schedule. I like their odds and their chances. I like their team.
Did you share those assessments with your players or with your coaching staff?
With the coaches. Yeah, we'd sit down with the coaches and we'd go through it and say, okay, we're better than this. We've got to dominate this game and win this. This is a matchup game. Got to win these matchup games. Okay, here are a couple teams that are better than us. We got to find a way to come out on top in those games, whether it's home field advantage, whether it's how we choose to attack them, and take a good, healthy look at that schedule every year.
And last year, Coach Key's team won a couple of the games that maybe they weren't supposed to win. That's good, but they lost a couple of the games they probably should have won, so that's what winds up being a 7-6 season. And as you know, it's a very fine line between winning and losing an awful lot of Saturdays, and it's the difference between a 7-win season and a 10-win season.
You got to beat the ones you're supposed to. Yep. You got to win the matchups, and you got to take somebody down in one of those big games that they have done. They did that last year. That's the key. That's what it's all about.
Trying to find David Prince there, the wide receiver who's 6'4". Big target, unable to get that long pass. Final 2 minutes and 12 seconds in this annual spring game here at Georgia Tech. Wreckham and Swarm tied at 13.
I think you're Brent Key. You're standing back here right now and you're saying to yourself, you know what, this is a really nice exclamation point of the end of spring ball. We got a lot done. We've showed some good things in this game. It appears as though we're relatively healthy.
Media
and I think he's sitting there saying to himself, I like what we got accomplished.
We've got a media timeout. That's us. So we'll take a break late in this spring game.
Well, welcome back to Atlanta. The Gold and White spring game here at Georgia Tech is tied 13-13 with 2 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. And if you watched any football at all last year, you probably saw Georgia Tech lose in 8 overtimes to Georgia. Because of that, Brent Key has emphasized overtime play in this spring period with his team. So I don't know that we will see overtime. Obviously, we've got 2 minutes to go, but it has been a point of emphasis for a team that battled at its best, and its best was still not what it needed in order to pull off that win that night.
Well, we see Graham Knowles back out with 2 minutes on the clock. And again, as Maryland just mentioned, tied. Will there be overtime? Will we be done at the end of the fourth quarter? We shall see. Knowles has a man open, and that is a touchdown to Zion Taylor. And a flag comes down in the end zone.
Really nice throw by Knowles. Zion Taylor with a great catch in the end zone. Nice ball.
Well, Zion Taylor so far has really taken advantage of his extended opportunity in the spring game. He has several big plays, none bigger than this one. He didn't play much last year. Got into 5 games, only had 1 reception, played a handful of snaps against Vanderbilt, but he's also in line for potentially a bigger role. Andrew Nelms with a point after. It's good. To make the score 20-13, Team Wreckham.
Wreckham.
I like these nicknames, Swarm and Wreckham.
No, I didn't ask. I wonder if they have a hot dog and beans versus filet steak dinner, winner loser type thing. That's usually what you do in a spring game, you know?
Okay.
Maybe not. I didn't hear anything about it. Maybe we should see if Maryland can find out.
Game clock operator, please set the game clock to 1 minute 40 seconds. 1 minute 40 seconds. Thank you.
So we're going to add about a minute and allow for another look at the 2-minute offense. That was a 34-yard touchdown pass from Graham Knowles to Zion Taylor, capping off an 8-play, 85-yard drive for Wreckham. And he's getting his push-ups in. Buzz doing his thing. No problem. He's in mid-season form already. Well, the season will begin in late August this year in Boulder, Colorado. And we should say to the folks here at Georgia Tech, we appreciate so much the access and hospitality we've had the last couple of days. And while spring games around the country have been called off or altered and access has been changed in many spots, that is not the case for Brent Key. He says he likes the way it's been done, and he's going to continue to do it this way.
Yeah, I mean, he was excited for it, said, listen, our students, our fans, our players, our parents, they deserve an opportunity to come in this stadium and play the game. And he's a big proponent of that. I agree with him. And it gives a chance for players to feel the bright lights. And what we talk about all the time is competitive excellence. In the most competitive moments, can he make the most competitive plays? Well, in this environment, it just ramps up the competitive environment a little bit. So I think for all those reasons, these are still, I think, very valuable games to be played. And I don't like the idea of a lot of teams doing away with them.
All right, apparently Maryland knows what is at stake for the winner and the loser here today. Maryland?
Highest tier investigative report I've ever done. Here's the deal. Winners get steak and lobster. Losers get beanie weenie. But the challenge with as many skill position players who have played for both teams is that there's going to be a little bit of a conversation around who was on the winning and the losing team. So that's all I know right now. And, you know, maybe they'll look at the stat sheet or replay a few clips of the film to decide if somebody who's just on the cusp gets that lobster and steak or is sitting with the beanie weenies.
That is some big-time investigative reporting right there.
I can get on the plane back to Florida right now. I feel a whole lot better. I know that. That's what I was wondering. Got to be a little something at stake here.
Well, we were getting the menu details. We saw the big play from Aaron Philo to once again Zion Taylor, number 9, who had a 58-yard reception.
That's the longest ball of the day right there.
Yeah, better than the biggest highlight on the double pass from Jamal Haynes for the touchdown.
You know, it used to make me laugh speaking about the reward dinners.
Okay.
Sometimes the players like the beanie weenies more than they like the other stuff. And I used to look and say, are you kidding me right now? You don't want steak? You want a hot dog?
I know
Coach,
I know which one you were choosing. Luke Harpring gets into the scoring column. He was left wide open on the receiving end of the touchdown pass.
Wow, he's had a day for himself. He's had a day.
So they're going to go for 2. Clock is running at 1:15, which again means nothing. They keep adding time and subtracting time and stop the clock, run the clock, whatever suits Coach Key at this point. But it's a chance to try their 2-point offense if they so choose. That was Philo to Harpring for 17 yards on the touchdown. In just 2 plays, Philo's arm covered 75 yards for the score. 2019 is our score.
Well, they're trying to give the young quarterback, Aaron Philo, a little situational football right now. You know, get him prepared. He doesn't have all these experiences. And so you start to give him a little bit of that.
Yeah, so we think as the clock continues to run, this 2-point conversion may wind up being the final play of our white and gold spring game.
Well,
time is called with 3 seconds.
First charge timeout of the second half.
They've got one they've been working on, and they're all juicing it up on the sideline. Now remember,
all right, so
you got this, you got that.
Predict it, Coach. Where are they going with this? What do you think? J.P. Powell's in there at running back alongside Philo. What do you do?
I think they're going to try to get a matchup here. They got trips to the field here. Maybe try to get some sort of rub or pick concept to the field.
All right. Philo takes the snap, rolls the pocket to the right. He's got time, throws into the end zone, and it's incomplete. The receiver could not squeeze it. DeBron Gatling looked like it was a well-delivered football.
That's what I thought. They ran the sprint. We used to call it roll right rub, and that's what they did. They set a little pick. They got a corner route, a flat route, and a little in route, and they want to hit the in route, work the man coverage, and that's what they did. But
all right, so the game is over. 2019, our final score. We'll take a break and come back and hear from Coach Key.
What'd you do? Roll your ankle? All right.
Old spring game is in the books with Team Reckham winning 20-19 over Team Swarm. Let's go down to Maryland with the head coach, Brent Key.
Coach, I heard you just tell the team these guys had a good spring. When you think about what you need now from this moment to kick off Labor Day weekend, where are the biggest growth opportunities?
Well, number one is making sure our team stays our team. We all know the world we live in right now, and we got good players. And right, but there's something special in that locker room that they want to be a part of, and to be committed to each other and committed to this team. Right, and know that we do have special things in front of us, and we've come a long way, and we got a long way to go. And people talk about a process all the time. Well, we talk about our journey.